In this video, I want to take a look at women's basketball Team USA and the qualifying team that has been sent over to Belgium and is currently playing in the tournament right now. If you're not aware, they have played 2 games so far. The first one was a close one for Team USA. They really should have lost it as it came down to a last-second shot tip-in by Breanna Stewart, but really it should have been disallowed as Kelsey Plum stepped out of bounds and the refs missed it. But overall, the tournament is not life or death as the U.S. team has already qualified by winning the World Championships when they went down to Sydney in 2022. This tournament is really just a chance for Team USA to get some good competition to prepare them for the Olympics when they come up in Paris later in the year. Now, the U.S. Olympic team has historically been extremely dominant as they have won the last 7 gold medals at the Olympics. And in truth, there has been more drama around who makes the Olympic team versus any issues when they get to the Olympics. And this year, in my mind, it is no different as I think a roster issue is brewing and I wanted to take a look at it, which is Diana Taurasi and her status, and could she actually make the Olympic team and grab her 6th gold medal? And is that a good thing or not? And has USA basketball set themselves up for issues and drama later down the track by including her in the Olympic qualifying team that's in Belgium right now? Now, first, with the Olympic qualifying team that was put together, 18 players went to Brooklyn for a training camp from the 2nd to the 4th. The players on the training camp roster included Ariel Atkins, Aaliyah Boston, Nafisa Collier, Kalia Copper, Allisha Gray, Chelsea Gray, Brittany Griner, Ryan Howard, Sabrina Ionescu, Betnijah Laney, Jewel Lloyd, Arike Ogunbowale, Kelsey Plum, Breanna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, Alyssa Thomas, Asia Wilson, and Jackie Young. The roster was cut to 12 with Allisha Gray, Chelsea Gray, Brittany Griner, Asia Wilson, Betnijah Laney, and Arike Ogunbowale not making the team. It sounds like Chelsea Gray was not fully fit as she's still recovering from her foot injury from the WNBA Finals. As well, it seems like Asia Wilson wasn't included to allow her to focus on her book that's coming out and commitments related to that. But my question, and I haven't seen a lot ask this, is why was Diana Taurasi chosen over Allisha Gray, Betnijah Laney, and Arike Ogunbowale? As you are aware, Taurasi is the oldest player in the WNBA at 41. She averaged 16 points last year, but was not real efficient, just barely shooting 40%. And I think it would be fair to describe her as a liability on the defensive end.
Taurasi just knew she didn't have the wheels to keep up with the quickness of Kelsey Plum.
So the question is, why was she invited to the training camp and why did she make the roster? Now, the head coach for Team USA is Cheryl Reeve with assistants Kurt Miller and Mike Thibault. If they were picking for their own WNBA teams, do you think that they would take Diana Taurasi over those 3 players if they were building their team? No way, because you build teams with young players and you don't really center a team or have 41-year-olds on your team. Now, you could make the argument, and I know commenters will do this, hey, she's the GOAT, she's the legend, it's an emeritus position, and for everything she's done and having that wisdom on the court, you just can't undervalue that. And that's why she made the team. How dare you suggest the GOAT Diana Taurasi should not be on the Olympic team or on the qualifying team? And I would come back to you and say, first of all, it's the qualifying team to figure out who should be on the Olympic team. So I don't think Diana Taurasi should be on the Olympic team, and I think they have just eliminated 3 players to give a chance to show what they could potentially do on the Olympic team. Again, I expect to be called a hater for this video. The other thing people will come at me with is, hey, it's a team you have to have chemistry in different parts. You just can't just choose the best 12 All-Stars and put them together, because it won't work that way. And again, I would come back to you and say, I'm not suggesting that, but Allisha Gray would fit in any team, as she's a well-rounded player, and choosing Taurasi over her just doesn't make any sense. And then the problem is once you start doing this, where you choose players that might not make it on merit and what their form has been during the previous WNBA season, then you put yourself in a spot where you're being hypocritical, if you like. So, and they have a history with this, the Olympic Selection Committee and Basketball USA. So in 2016, Candace Parker was left out of the Olympic team, and she was quite cranky afterwards and didn't even try out for 2020. And she was like, it was basically, I was left off the team, in her opinion, as Gino didn't like me, and it was a whole thing with her and a personality conflict, in her opinion. I think Basketball USA's take was, hey, it was a committee that selected the team and you didn't make it. And her comeback was, hey, I'm much like Diana Taurasi. I've put in a lot of time. Like, I missed my freshman year at college because I played on a bum knee for Team USA, like in the under 21s, on a bum knee that cost me my freshman year at Tennessee, and I've always given my time to Team USA. If you knew I wasn't going to make the team, I mean, really, do we really think the coach is going to choose it on a week training camp with these players? They have so much film and video of how they've played historically. Don't tell me when you bring him in the training camp, oh, we figured it out in those 2 days of scrimmages, that's who was going to be on the team. No, they knew beforehand. And she's like, don't waste my time telling me to come to training camp. At least give me a whisper in the ear, hey, you're on the bubble for this team. If you might not make it. If that's an issue, don't show up. And they did not give Parker the courtesy of that. Hence why she was just like, oh yeah, I'm not trying out for Team USA, because it's political and you don't know what's going on in the background. And then her former Sparks teammate, Nneka Ogwumike, she was in the same boat, so of being done over by the selection process. So for the 2020 Olympics, she was one of the 8 core players that was signed from 2019 to 2020. When they had the Olympic qualifiers in 2020, she was like the MVP of the tournament, or the tournament's best player. But obviously the Olympics was delayed a year due to COVID, and then she had a knee issue that she felt wasn't significant. She felt the trainer was transparent and saying it wasn't going to be an issue, and then all of a sudden she was pulled from the team. Now, funny, by chance, Diana Taurasi also had like a sternum issue as well, but Taurasi's place was kept where Ogwumike was pulled from the team at the last minute. She was devastated. She did a piece for ESPN where she outlined how they were transparent with her knee, and the excuse that Don Staley gave of, it was the injury to her knee. She's like, no, that's not true. She thought that Team USA wanted more flexibility, and that's why she was replaced. And that's really where you get in trouble with these team selections. You have to have one policy and go forward. And the best policy is, we're going to select our best players. I am fine with being ruthless. Famously, Bill Walsh was ruthless. Like, he traded Montana, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Randy Cross was a guard for the 49ers when Walsh was there. He talks about how Walsh sat him down before one of the training camps and said, you probably have about 7 or 8 years left in the league, but you probably have about 3 or 4 left for playing for me, because I'll get rid of you before you get there, because I only want you at your best. And he's like, ugh.
Getting ready for the 83 season. Sits down, looks at me and goes, I think you can probably play another 6, 8 years in this league. Only going to play maybe 3 or 4 here. I said, excuse me? He says, yeah. He goes, you won't finish your career here. I just want to give you the heads up. He says, because I only want your good years.
Harsh, but that is sport. You bring in the best players. It's the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's re-sign Kobe to a max contract and see how we go. Or even the Mercury in the WNBA. Let's give Diana Taurasi a max contract and see how we go. Even though we know they're way past their prime and we're doing this out of loyalty, versus that 49er mentality. Nope. Once your prime is done, we don't care who the hell you are. we will trade you Ronnie Lott or Joe Montana or whoever it might be and get a better player in. And I feel like that's how Team USA should be run. Even though you know you're going to dominate the competition, it's the only way to make it right and fair versus having politics on who makes the team. If they're, is it a UConn bias or is it this player's been around for so long we have to do it? I just don't think you can play those sort of favorites on the USA national team. Now over to you. So you have your say in your comments. Am I just a hater? I'm sure I'm going to get that. Let me know. Should Taurasi be on the qualifying and potential Olympic team, or is she taking a roster spot unfairly from Gray, Laney, or Ogumowale? So leave your comments below. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope to see you next time. Good night.